John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of truth, popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now Jay Fred's picking football.
Are y'all ready for this?
All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network. Brought to you by DraftKings.com. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla wins. Your guide to picking football winners. With America's Godzilla of truth, John Fredericks. Brought to you by DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com. Promo code Godzilla for the best money and betting giveaways in America. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the inaugural edition. That's what this is, the inaugural edition of GodzillaWins.com. Every Saturday morning, 9 to 10, myself with my crack panel of gambling sports analysts will be giving you winners. And you can go to GodzillaWins.com. That's GodzillaWins.com. Also, sign up for our column that comes out every Friday. You don't want to miss that. Now, last year, we're coming off a great season. Last year, we were 30 games over 500 against the spread. It was the best record of anybody. We beat all the wise guys in Vegas. We clobbered them as we put our picks up every week. They're all there. There's no shenanigans that goes on, and I pick about every NFL game. This year also we're going to be picking college games, but you got to go to GodzillaWins.com. Sign up for our newsletter. Go to JohnFredericksRadioshow.com. That comes out every Friday, and we're going to have a great season this season, so I'm really fired up about season starts in a couple weeks, and every Saturday, 9 to 10, right here, you're going to be getting us live, and then we'll be doing our NFL recap that'll replay on Sunday just before the Pittsburgh Steelers game that we carry on our network. We are the official NFL affiliate of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not that I'm a fan, but I'm also a businessman, and there is a Steelers Nation, so we carry them. Also on our networks, Alabama football, the Alabama Crimson Tide in Atlanta, WMLB AM 1690. Army football in Philadelphia, AM 740, 105.3 FM. Army football, and then in Virginia, Old Dominion University Monarchs, we carry them. So lots of football, plus the Steelers, plus Godzilla Wins, our show every Saturday at 9. Let me introduce my esteemed panel here. By the way, this is our show is sponsored by the best gambling outfit online in the country, DraftKings. They are the best. It's the only one I use. Go to DraftKings.com, put in promo code Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla, you're going to get the best deals there. DraftKings.com, download their free app, put in promo code Godzilla, and you're good to go. Let me introduce our panelists that'll be with us throughout the season. We'll be, of course, picking with and against each other, so you have to decide what you like the best. I'm going to start with Jack in Tupelo, Mississippi, the Mississippi Marxist, coming at you from Ole Miss. Jack, thanks for being with us. We got a long, exciting season ahead of us, so I want to introduce you first, and then we'll get to Nate. Jack, top things you're going to be looking for this season, NFL. What is it?
Good morning. Tunica, not Tupelo. Tupelo's where Elvis Presley was born. Tunica's where the casinos are. So top things I think I'm looking for this season. Number one, can the Titans win 5 or 6 games? That's a huge one for me. Question there. Number two, I'm really interested in the Lions. They had a top 5 defense last year. I want to see, if that team can turn it around, win some games. Love the Chargers. That's a big one for me as well. And then, of course, the Atlanta Clown Show. Don't even know who their quarterback is. I think it's Matt Schaub. So we'll see how that goes.
Matt Schaub. That's a blast from the past. All right, also joining us on our panel from Reno, No Pick Nate Perry. Nate, thanks for being with us today. Before we get into the individual teams, if you had to name right now your biggest bust this season, your biggest bust of all the NFL teams, what do you think it'll be? And then we'll go around the table, Nate.
I really think it's either going to be the Titans or the Cardinals, and I feel like we're already ganging up on you, John, and we just got started. But it's the truth. I mean, I think that Tennessee's going to regress. I think that the offensive line is getting worse. I think that's a huge concern with Derrick Henry, who's getting older and is coming off an injury. I think that's a team to look for to regress a little bit this next season. I also think that the Cardinals could regress a little bit for the same reasons. Kyler Murray coming off injuries. I'm not convinced that the study hall thing is going to work out well for them. So those are two big teams that I think could regress.
I think, I think obviously we don't see eye to eye on the Titans. I'm picking them to go to the Super Bowl, so I see the exact opposite. But I got two busts this season, and I agree with you on the Cardinals. This team has got all this hype going on with Kyler Murray. You got to look at this, guys. When you got a quarterback that you have to put in the contract, right? You have to put in the contract that he has to spend so many hours watching game film. And then he whines about it and says it's discriminatory or it was disrespectful. Well, the reason they put it in there is because the kid wouldn't work. So then the Cardinals, instead of saying, screw you, get your sorry butt in the film room, they acquiesce and take it out. Not good leadership. Jack?
Yeah, I mean, look, I just bought a PlayStation, so I kind of understand where Kyler Murray's coming from. They can be a lot of fun, and, he worked really, really hard all week long, and then, it comes around, he just wants to be a little Call of Duty. So, I know where they're coming from, but at the same time, I don't think Cliff Kingsbury's the guy. I think if you put, and I'm not the first person to say this, I feel like if you put Kyler Murray with Sean McVay or Andy Reid or Josh McDaniels, even in Las Vegas, that you could probably get 10, 15, 20% more production out of the guy. I just think the leadership starts with Kingsbury, and I haven't really seen anything that indicates that guy is going to ever be successful beyond maybe 8, 9, 10 wins top. I think they're probably look at it.
Yeah. You're breaking up a little, Jack. You might want to move to a different position here. Can you let's get to the AFC, and we're going to start. We'll do the AFC first, then we'll do the NFC. Give you our analysis, and we're going to start there. And I'm going to start. Why don't we guys start with AFC East? Right now, you go to DraftKings, Buffalo, the overwhelming favorite to win that division. They're minus 230. Then the Dolphins are plus 450 after that, and it goes from there. Let's see if we can go over quickly each team and go around the table. And I'm going to start with Buffalo. I just don't see anybody beating this team in the certainly in the East, and I think they have to be the favorite to get deep in the playoffs. They got Josh Allen coming back. They got a first-class defense. They've made some additions. They've had no really significant losses, Nate, anywhere. And I just don't see in a 17-game season, how this team loses 6 or 7 games. Nate?
I mean, I agree with you. I think that the Bills are definitely the cream of the crop here. And I wrote in our column, I said, don't overthink it here. The Bills are the best team in this division. I think Miami will get better. I think they should improve. They, also kind of retooled their roster and upgraded a little bit. But that's really their only competition that I can see. I can't see the Patriots doing it. I can't see the Jets making that big of a leap in year 2 with Zach Wilson. So, I mean, I think that it really is Buffalo's division to lose. I think the only thing that happens that prevents them from winning the division is something catastrophic. Josh Allen gets hurt, and that can be said for any team in the NFL.
Jack, Bills, what do you think?
That's my pick to win the Super Bowl. I mean, you guys said everything. They don't really have a lot of competition in that division. The Patriots, I don't think are going to challenge them much. People kind of like the Dolphins, but I'm not so sure about Tua. I just think they've been knocking on the door for years, and at some point they're going to get to the Super Bowl. And I don't see anyone in the NFC that can really challenge them at this point.
The Dolphins are an interesting team, and I said this in my column. A lot of people don't know they've won 19 games in the last 2 seasons. They won 8 and 9, trying to close out last season before they fired their coach, and they blew. I mean, and look, I would have fired that coach also, because if you looked at their early games, they blew 3 games in the final minute. That one of them was just bad clock management. The other 2 were bad calls, but they blew 3 of those games in the final minute and a half. All of them they could have won, should have won. So on paper, the Dolphins look like maybe they're going to make a move this season. They made a couple of big splashes. They got Tyreek Hill, and they also got free agent Tayron Armstead. They've got a good defense, but don't you guys feel that this is to a season to either put up or shut up? Tommy, to me, either this team wins 10 or 11 games, it gets into playoffs or not. And he can't be whining now about his receiving core. He's got Tyreek Hill, is probably one of the best in the NFL. Don't you think this kind of is it for the Dolphins? Either they're going to make the playoffs now, and this guy is going to be an elite quarterback or not. Nate?
Absolutely. I think that this is absolutely his year to do that. He's got the receiving core, like you said. They've tried to anchor down the offensive line to get him some protection. Defense isn't going to be an excuse for him. This is really the year that he has to prove that he's the guy.
The Patriots are plus 500. A lot of people still picking them because of Bill Belichick. But I just don't see this team. I don't see the defense. I'm not really a firm believer in Mac Jones. You look at the one playoff game he had last season at Buffalo. He was horrific. And I understand there's all the Bill Belichick thing, and he seems to put things together. But they continue to lose players. They're aging. There was no smoke and mirrors in the draft. Now they're bringing back Matt Patricia. Is he the answer? Look, Joe Judge. Here's all you have to know about the Patriots offense. Joe Judge is their offensive coordinator. This is the guy that coached the Giants and for 2 seasons averaged 11 points. Jack?
My question is, what are we picking them for? Are you saying, are we picking them to win the Super Bowl? No, that's ridiculous. There's no way they win the Super Bowl. Are we picking them to win 10, 11 games, be moderately successful, do what Bill Belichick does, and in November and December they're super competitive because they improve so much and the scheme looks great or whatever? Fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, they win 11 games, the Bills win 15, they lose in the first round of the playoffs, and we're at the same as we were last year.
Right, Nate?
I agree. I just don't see it just based on talent. You're looking at a roster that's just not that good. I'm
Right.
sure Mac Jones will improve, but just where's his help? I'm looking at the roster here, and I think that they're about the same level as the Raiders or Miami or the Jets. I just don't see a market difference, and I don't see how they can overcome that talent gap, even with the great coaching from Belichick and even with good play from Mac Jones. There's nobody else around.
I don't see it either, but I do want to talk about the New York Jets because, they've been a dumpster fire for years. We've made fun of them in our columns forever. They always have a horrible team. But you look at the Jets this season, and I think they're going to surprise some people. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No. Win the division? No. But, a team that's been, so horrific for so long, I could see them 8-8, 7-9. Nate?
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll be respectable. Robert Saleh's a real coach. They finally have a real coach. They look like they have a real plan. They've spent a lot trying to upgrade the defense. And I expect Zach Wilson to sort of take a step up in his second year, like a lot of these guys do, like Mahomes did, like Josh Allen has. I think they'll get better. I don't think they're there yet, but I think, 2-3 years from now, they could be a real contender in the division for sure.
I like the addition of Laken Tomlinson, kind of anchoring that offensive line, which was so porous last season. Jack, we've been making fun of the Jets forever, but they actually could beat some teams this season. What do you think?
Well, let me just clue Nate in on something that he might not know about you, which is that you grew up in Jersey, looking over there at the 5 boroughs, and one thing I know about you is you kind of secretly hope that 2 teams do well: the Jets, the Mets. You might not root for them, but if the Mets are doing well, you'll never say anything poor about them. Same thing with the Jets. So, yeah, okay, they win 7 games. Maybe Zach Wilson is better. Zach Wilson kind of stinks. Last year, he's probably going to stink this year. Maybe they win 7 games. But those 7 games for you, secretly, you're going to enjoy every bit of it.
Well, I might win some money on it, but I do remember my father, Sam, your grandfather, was a Giants fan his whole life. And then, I don't know, for some reason, he got Jets tickets from his union or something, and he went to his first Jets game with me, and we walked in the stadium, and it was all green, and he had never been to a Jets game. He wasn't a Jets fan; he was a Giants fan, and they hooked him instantly. He became a Jets fan from that day on. So he became a big Jets fan. But yeah, I mean, look, we've been making fun of them a long time. I think we're in agreement. AFC East, Bills. Okay, let's get to AFC North, guys. This is interesting. DraftKings has the Ravens the favorite at plus 135 to win the division, which is kind of shocking to me, I thought. And they got the Bengals at plus 170. Nate, start with you. AFC the North. What do you think?
I mean, if we're talking about the Ravens, I don't see how they can be the favorite. What if they get J.K. Dobbins back? Great, he was good a couple years ago before he got hurt. But what else do they have? Who does Lamar Jackson throw to? They get rid of Hollywood Brown. Their defense will be good. They are well coached, but I don't see how they can be the favorite over a team that was just in the Super Bowl last year and has just gotten better. It doesn't make any sense to me. The line doesn't make any sense to me. Lamar Jackson hasn't been, stellar in the past. Even when he's had a bunch of people around him, I don't see how taking talent away from him is suddenly going to help the team. So I can't get behind them to win the division. I can't get behind them to do much of anything this season. They might make the playoffs as a wild card, but I can't see how it would be a good bet to bet them as a favorite for the division. I
mean, I think their dilemma is they have no receivers for Lamar Jackson. Right. So it's like they don't want him to run so he doesn't get hurt, but if he doesn't run, they have nobody downfield. I mean, basically it's a tight end team. They just have no speed on the receiving core. So at the end of the day, he's tucking and running the ball. He's going to get hurt again. And I just don't think they're that good. I love the Bengals to win this division. I don't know why why are they, the second choice? So why is a lot of people are picking them to have a down season, Jack? Why is that?
Because they just caught fire in the playoffs. They, they got a gift from the Titans in the playoffs. They played really well throughout that run, and then they lost the Rams in the Super Bowl. It's just hard to repeat in the NFL. It's hard to catch that success again. I guess we're all in agreement that the Steelers and Browns aren't to be much competition. But to me, I don't think it's so much the Bengals. I think people like the Ravens. I mean, Jim Harbaugh has proven over and over he can figure it out, and Joe Burrow's still pretty young. He could run a bunch of picks or whatever. I mean, look, we all like the Bengals, but I love the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to win a lot of football games, and I think you guys are going to be looking at me like I'm a genius here in December.
Well, I just don't see the team. Let's get to the Steelers, who we cover with the NFL affiliate of the Steelers, so I always like them to do well. I'm not a fan of them, but I mean, are you kidding? I mean, let's just break this down, fellas. Okay, you're going into the first game. You don't know who your quarterback is, and your merry-go-round of choices are. Get this. You ready? You ready? Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett. That is your choice to lead your team, Jack.
Well, I mean, look, I teach high school, and sometimes we win, sometimes we don't. Sometimes the kids walk in, and I say, who's playing quarterback? And they say, we don't know. That's kind of how the Steelers are. I mean, just from week to week, you just don't know who's playing quarterback. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe they'll get a fan. Maybe Joseph can go down there and throw a couple screens. I mean, you just never know. So this team wins 4 games.
I'm kind of with you on that, guys. Nate, I mean, I think they're a 3, 4, 5 game win team. They got a lot. Look, everybody loves their coach, right? I mean, everybody loves the guy, but you got to have the players, right? You just got to have the players. And by the way, their defense isn't that good either. But let's get to the Browns. I mean, first of all, they're only plus 380. I would never take this bet to win the division. I don't think they're going to win four games. I mean, what? How does this franchise get to this place after what looked like a lot of people picked them last season to win the Super Bowl, or to get there? They were a complete flame out. Mayfield's gone. I mean, who do they got? Freddie Kitchens? I mean, this thing is a catastrophe, Nate.
I mean, yeah, it's bad. I mean, you trade for Deshaun Watson and then he gets suspended for 11 games. I mean, that's the whole season. I don't see how you can bet them to win anything right now. I mean, the odds don't seem to reflect how bad they're going to be without Deshaun Watson. I mean, I don't know what there's talk about.
And then, Jack, how do you go out and get a guy that is going to get suspended? You don't know who's going to sue him. I mean, the guy brings all this baggage with him. He's got sexual assault charges all over the place. How do you go out and pick this guy to run your franchise? Like, who in their right mind would do that?
Because you're the Browns. I mean, there's no other real explanation. Not only that, he's like the highest paid football player in the history of the world. So, I mean, it's pretty reprehensible what they're doing. Maybe next year they win 14 games and the Browns look like geniuses. But even so, like, is anyone going to feel good doing it? I mean, It's like eating a hamburger and being like, I'll eat a second one. And after the second one, you're like, oh, wow, that was a horrible decision. I mean, yeah, it looked, it was great going down, but now it's horrible. So this is not a team I can ever really root for if this is the way they're going to run their franchise.
All right, so your pick to win the division, I'm picking the Bengals. Jack?
Ravens, baby.
Nate?
Bengals.
All right, let's get to the AFC South. I don't even want to get into it with you guys. You know what? I'm going to have to go through this Indianapolis Colts thing now. I put it in my column the whole season. The whole media is in love with them. Matt Ryan is now all of a sudden he's Bart Starr, Joe Namath, the Johnny Unitas rolled up into one. Although he couldn't get to the playoffs, but a couple times with Atlanta, and then he choked. He's like their savior, Jonathan Taylor. All I'm going to hear about now is how great the Colts are, how great their coach is, how great everything is, how they're going to win the division. They're minus 130. You know what? Play the game, right? I'm telling you guys right now, Tennessee's going to go to the Super Bowl. This is a great team. We got the best defense probably in the NFL. We're going to lead the league in sacks. We put pressure on the quarterback. We got great corners. We got Robert Woods. And we got Derrick Henry, mean, in shape, and he's got chip on his shoulder. This whole team's got a chip on his shoulder. I know I'm a Titans fan. I love the Titans to win this division, and I think they're going to the Super Bowl. And I'll tell you the other thing. I think all the flack, I was at that game. I was at the game where, he threw the 3 interceptions. So I get the Tannehill issue, right? We were there. In fact, in the final minute when we had the ball and we were driving, Jack said, please don't throw the ball, just hand it off. Of course, he threw an interception. We lose 3-1. But I like the Titans who win. I think they're going to be the surprise team of the whole NFL. Go ahead, guys. I'll start with Jack.
A couple things. You saying the Titans are going to the Super Bowl is like, somebody on Bourbon Street saying the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, you just can't see it that clearly. You also keep saying Derrick Henry's in shape. I don't know where you're getting. I mean, I'm sure he is in shape, but I don't know what that has to do with anything. This is football. They're all in shape. I mean, this isn't baseball. Like, everybody's in shape. They all have to run around and hit each other. So I don't know how that is somehow like the X factor. Like, you lose A.J. Brown, but Derrick Henry can bench a couple more pounds, so you're going to win the Super Bowl? What are you talking about? The Colts are the best team in this division. I think they're going to go to the AFC Championship. They have an incredible roster, a great defense, a good coach. Matt Ryan's a former MVP, salty veteran. I mean, it's just, to me, this is like a no-brainer. Not only that, I think the Titans are legitimately going 6 games, and I'm not saying that to make you mad. It's just the truth. They're just not any good. Ryan Tannehill stinks. And A.J. Brown opened up the offense so much because of his explosiveness, so you had to respect both the pass and the run. Now you don't have to respect anything. You just load everybody in the box, smother Henry, and then, Ryan Tannehill's looking for a job by November.
All right, Nate, go ahead.
I mean, I agree with Jack on more points than I agree with you, John, probably. I mean, the Titans just, their whole offense is predicated on the play-action pass, get the ball to Henry. So really it's predicated on the idea that Derrick Henry can stay healthy, which he often doesn't, that the offensive line can create holes, even though they're aging out and they don't look like maybe they can. And then even if he does, even if the play-action pass does work, who does he throw it to? I don't see how they score enough to be super competitive with the elite teams in the NFL, and I don't think that they're better than the Colts. I think the Colts are top to bottom better. We've been saying it for a few years that all they needed was a quarterback. They thought the answer was Wentz. Obviously not the answer, and is seldom the answer for anybody. But I think Matt Ryan will be a good influence in that locker room. He's mature. People seem to respect him. They seem to respond to him. I think that they have to be the pick to win the division, and I think that I wouldn't be surprised if they went pretty far.
All right, let's
in the
get
playoffs.
we got to go to word from our sponsor. So let's pin things down here in the AFC South. Win the division. I picked Titans. Jack,
Colts.
Nate,
Colts.
all right, you're both wrong. All right, quick word from our sponsors. We're going to be right back. AFC West, NFC coming up.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins, brought to you by DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com, promo code Godzilla for the best money and betting giveaways in America. Here comes the Godzilla of truth, Godzilla Wins, on the John Fredericks Media Network.
When you're back on Godzilla Wins, John Fredericks Media Network. Hey, we're here every Saturday, 9 to 10 live. My panel, Jack Fredericks in Tunica, Mississippi. Nate Perry, my man Nate, No Pick Nate in Reno. We got the heavyweights coming in. We're going to be giving you selections every single Saturday at 9 a.m. I was plus 30 against the spread last season. Blew everybody out. I think Nate was plus 5, and he picked 8 games or something. He's going to be with us. Hey, stay on the Getter chat, guys. Stay on. Go to Getter Live. We got a lot of viewers there, and a couple of the chats now says John is in NFL mode from a TBS guy. Yes, exactly. Got my Titan shirt on, and also.
But John, we got to talk a little bit about college and UVA, my team.
We'll get to that in a minute. We got to get through the NFL, Derek, but we're going to get.
I'm anxious because I'm ready for some football, man.
We got some. Nate's going to be leading our college effort. Hanson 1776 says Steelers win it all. Pickett is a young Roethlisberger. Okay, well, you know what? This is the best thing about the beginning of the season is everybody's 0-0, right? So we'll have to see what happens, but we're going to get to that in a second. Plus, we can take your calls, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-JOHN. Jack and Nate with me here. Okay, we got to get to the heavyweight of the AFC, then get to the NFC. Nate, AFC West, I'm going to start with you. Any of these teams in the AFC West can make the playoffs. Toughest thing about being in the AFC West is you got to play the other teams in the AFC West twice, right? So, look, I'm going to start with Kansas City. A lot of people, they're plus 175, favored to win a division, but not by much according to DraftKings. They have Mahomes. Here's the thing about Mahomes, and then I'm going to go to Nate and Jack. Number one, he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. I don't know how many games I was watching, betting on them or against them, where it was, third down and 15, and he finds the guy wide open after scrambling. And they get a first down, and they end up, winning or losing, depending on the bet. So that's gone. Also, here's the thing. NFL defenses figure things out. If you look at what happened, Mahomes' record against the blitz was phenomenal. And so they stopped blitzing him, and now defenses are just sitting back, rushing 4, playing a nickel 5, and his completion percentage and effectiveness went way down. So Nate, the question is, their defense is solid. It's not great. It's okay. They did give up 38 to Buffalo at home in the playoffs. It's okay. Are they going to repeat again here? Are they the team to beat? Nate, Perry, what say you?
The AFC West is just a total war zone, right? Any of those teams could come out on top, just depending on how things break. The Raiders are going to be better. The Broncos are going to be better. Chargers are still good, and the Chiefs should still be okay. But I think that it's totally wide open, and I think that this is for the Chargers. I think this is where they step up and assert themselves in the AFC West. Because I just, like you were saying, it's not just losing Tyreek Hill. You're losing a guy that changes the playbook, right? That sort of speed opens up the field in a way that basically no other wide receiver can in the league. So you're not just losing, a guy who's pretty good at catching passes. You're losing a guy that fundamentally changes the offense. And it's going to change how Patrick Mahomes has to approach games. And it's going to change how he approaches, 3rd and 15 at the end of a game when before he could just fire it out there and just hope that he caught it. He doesn't have that anymore. So I think that you're right to be skeptical of the Chiefs. I think that you're right to be sort of interested in how they respond with, to these losses that they've had.
Jack, are the Chiefs it, or can they get toppled?
No, I picked the Chargers, but the thing with the Chiefs, it's hard to pick against them. It's like trying to pick against the Spurs in 2011. I mean, it just didn't really matter. You just kind of pick them and you say, well, okay, maybe they'll win the NBA championship. They seem to be in the mix every year. So, I'm picking the Chargers because I like Justin Hebert. I think they upgraded on defense. They have a lot of offensive weapons. And I just think that they're going to come out on top. I think that the Raiders and the Broncos are fine. 7, 8, maybe 9 wins for one of those teams. I love the Raiders, I always have, but I'm just thinking the Chargers are the better team here. But I'm nervous. I'm nervous. The Chiefs haven't proven that they are going to have a down season. They always seem to be in the mix. They always seem to be in the AFC Championship or right there. So it's hard to pick against them, but, trying to be different, pick the Chargers. We'll see.
Well, I think the Chargers are the flip-a-coin team. You have no idea how good they are or how not good they are. I mean, one thing I got to give their front office credit for, the Bolts, is they got serious. They brought in Khalil Mack. They brought in Sebastian Joseph Day. They're going to team up with Joey Bosa, who was their best basically defensive lineman. And their defensive front last season was a comedy show. I mean, it was just horrible. They couldn't get any pressure on anybody, and so they had to try to outscore everybody. But we'll see. I mean, there's so many things here about the Chargers you don't know, and even their coach Brandon Staley, right? This is Mr. Go for it on fourth down, right? Mr. Analytics, who's got all the charts that says if it's depending on where you are and how many yards it is. I mean, look, that's fine if you make it. But at the end of the season, you got to remember, guys, if you follow this stuff, at the end of the season, they stopped making those fourth downs. And now they're turning the ball over midfield, and they didn't have the defense. So I don't know. Maybe they're going to be the team. Maybe they're going to win the division, get deep in the playoffs. To me, they're a wild card. I don't know. I don't think they're a good bet. But the team that I think is going to crash is Denver. I mean, you got all these people picking Denver because they got Russell Wilson, who played with, the great defense on Seattle. They didn't bring in anybody else, and they got rid of Von Miller. So how does Denver all of a sudden, become a super playoff contender in that division when the only upgrade is at quarterback? Jack?
Well, because Russell Wilson is something an elite quarterback, and I just think if you put the Broncos in the NFC North or something, yeah, I mean they look amazing. They're just in a really difficult division, and I think people just pick teams to be different. The Broncos made a move. Okay, let's pick them. Maybe they'll make the playoffs. But I mean, I think they win 8 games, maybe 9, but I don't think they win 12, 14. That's what it takes now.
Nate, Denver.
I mean, I think Denver's a real team. I disagree with both of you. I mean, Russell Wilson is a good quarterback. I think that him getting out of Seattle, which was just, a disaster towards the end of his time there, will only do good things for him. And, Denver has talent. They have good wide receivers. They just never have had anyone to throw to. And they finally have a good quarterback, and I'm interested to see what, the sort of talented receiving crew, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, like what they look like when they actually have someone competent under center. So I'm sort of optimistic that they'll be decent. I don't know if they'll, make a deep run through the playoffs or win the division, but I don't think it's unreasonable for them to win 9 or 10 games.
I don't see it. I think they're going to be the biggest bust, along with Arizona. Okay, quickly, because we got to get the NFC. What happened to Chargers? I mean, what happened to the Raiders? They got one of the best quarterbacks in Derek Carr. They got they had a great season last season. Now everybody's picking them last.
Josh
Nate?
McDaniels. That's what it is. I mean, I'm serious. That's what it is. Nate, I mean, what do you think? I think it's Josh McDaniels.
I think it's Josh McDaniels. I think it's a culture of losing. I think it's Josh McDaniels never really proven himself as a head coach. Football, the sort of entertainment of the Las Vegas Raiders seems to sort of trump the product they put on the field quite a bit. Right. They don't seem terribly interested in winning. They seem terribly interested in being entertaining, getting fans in seats. And they don't need to be good to do that. They just need to be good enough. So until they show me something, I'm not really interested in them either. I think they'll be okay. I don't think they'll be horrible, but to think that, like, they could win this division, which is, it also speaks to just how difficult the AFC West is. The Raiders would be fine in a lot of other divisions. Shit, they probably wouldn't.
They didn't really upgrade their defense was ranked 26th last season. They didn't change anything. So, I mean, what? Now all of a sudden they're going to be 25th? Let's see.
In the NFC East, they're great.
Non-zombie on Getter says Denver's a 5-win team. Okay, let's wrap the AFC. We got to get to the NFC. We got 20 minutes. We got to go rapid fire. Winning the West Division. Who's your pick to win the West, and who's your pick to get to the AFC? Who's your pick from the AFC to get to the Super Bowl, Jack?
NFC. So Niners are my pick in the West.
No, AFC.
No, we're finishing AFC.
Your pick to win the West, and your AFC pick to get to the Super Bowl.
All right. Yeah, sure. AFC coming out of the West, I had the Chargers. My pick in the AFC to get to the Super Bowl is the Bills. My pick to win the Super Bowl is the Bills.
Nate?
Same page and all that. I think the Chargers get through the AFC West. I think that the Bills make it through the division or through the AFC, and I think they probably win the Super Bowl.
Kansas City wins the AFC West. Titans get to the Super Bowl and win the whole thing. This is going to be the season. NFC East. Let's get there. What's up with Dallas, Nate?
I don't know. They just make me nervous. It seems like everyone else is improving, and they just, are basically the same. I worry that they aren't making good personnel. I mean, the coaching is always the problem, right? I mean, we've been concerned about Mike McCarthy for years and years and years. Penalties, game management, game planning, all of it is just a disaster, and he hasn't shown that he's improving. So that's a huge problem for me, just to start off, In addition, the offensive line is aging. The defense should be a little bit better, but, you got to put it all together. At some point, they have to, realize that Zeke is probably past his prime and that they need to play Pollard more. Whether or not they can do that to a running back they're paying upwards of $20 million, I don't know if they can bench him. But I think they have to if they want to be good on offense.
Okay. The Cowboys, to me, are the intrigue team because, on paper, there's just a lot of things to like about him, right? And Dak Prescott, he seems to be getting better every season. I don't like betting a team that gets 15 penalties a game. And they did it again in their first preseason game. And I don't think McCarthy's got control of this team. And it kind of reminds me of, remember Cleveland with their defense 2 seasons ago with a guy banging his helmet on some quarterback's head after he sacked him? I mean, it's just an undisciplined team. And the other thing, Nate and Jack, you look at the number of offside penalties that Dallas got last year on offense, just illegal procedure penalties. They led the league in illegal procedures 2-1. Like, who does that? I until they can fix that, I don't see it. Jack?
I love the Cowboys, but it has nothing to do with their personnel or their coach. That I just think every year there's one team in the NFL that everybody is annoyed that they keep winning. Last year it was the Titans. They won like 12, 13 games. Nobody knew why. They didn't have A.J. Brown. They didn't have Derrick Henry. I just think the Cowboys this year are going to win like 14 games. Everybody's going to be annoyed, and then they're going to lose in the first round of playoffs.
Okay, that's your pick. In the East, guys, I got to tell you, I love the Eagles. I think this is a better team than meets the eye for anybody. The addition of A.J. Brown. Look, I'm a Titans fan. I know A.J. Brown. I've seen him play every single game on TV or in person that he's played for them. I've seen him physically take games over. I mean, there was a San Francisco game last season. We were down 10-0, and he just, in the third quarter, he basically took the game in his own hands. I mean, he is an elite receiver. Is a terrible loss for us. I think he's like 2 wins for them, and they have a good defense. The problem is Jalen Hurst. I mean, do you really see Jalen Hurst winning a Super Bowl, Jack?
Actually, yes, because I saw him do it in college at Alabama and Oklahoma. I just don't think he can stay healthy. And the argument is like, well, he's got more weapons than Lamar Jackson, so he can throw the ball. But I think he's going to run around. I think at some point he's going to get hurt, and the Eagles season's going to go down the tubes. It seems that they seem to have problems with that all the time. So if the guy stays healthy, they have so many weapons. There's no reason they can't win 10 or 11 games. But I like Jalen Hurts. I just think he's always hurt.
I don't know, Nate.
I mean, it kills me to say this. You guys all know that I'm a huge Cowboys homer, and I think that the Eagles probably win the division. I think that Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. I think that, the game is changing. He looks like a modern quarterback. He runs well. He's generally been I disagree with Jack. I think that he's pretty durable for a running quarterback, and he opens up the playbook for them. A.J. Brown is going to be a huge addition, and, he sits behind probably – I mean, I don't even know if it's probably – it is the best offensive line in football, so he's going to have time to throw it. The defense is good enough to keep him in games, and I just don't think that they're going to have any problem scoring with anybody.
I like the Eagles in this division as well. Non-Zombie on Getter says, Dallas, this is a great comment, Dallas is missing the key ingredient. They're the new Phillip Rivers Chargers. That's a great comment, Non-Zombie. I kind of agree with that. Okay, do we even have to cover the Washington Commanders? First of all, the name is annoying to me. Like, what the hell are the Commanders? I wish they stuck with Washington Football Club or team or whatever it was, because at least that was like in your face, woke people in your face. But now they changed it to Commanders. It's like the Cleveland Guardians. I can't even say it without what is that about? Here's the thing. If Carson Wentz is the answer, it's got to be a really stupid question. I don't see this team at all. I guess he's an upgrade from, Taylor Heineke? But to me, this team, 5-6 wins, guys.
I mean, you can save your woke mob hot takes for Monday morning, but the Commanders or Commodores or whatever they are.
Commodores.
Whatever the team
Commodores
is.
might have been better.
I don't know.
Commodores would have been a better name.
Yeah, Commodores. That's what anyway, why are we wasting time on these teams?
Okay. What about the Giants? Well, we got to give everybody their due. Nate, what about the Giants and Daniel Jones?
I mean, I think that it's more. I think that it's going to be more of the same for them. I just when the Giants just aren't good, right? And they haven't proven that they're going to be good, and I just don't see how. I feel bad for Daniel Jones. It feels like every 4 minutes he has a new coach or a new offensive coordinator or a new quarterbacks coach. How he can't succeed. He's been put in a horrible position to succeed, and I don't see how they just suddenly stop doing that.
See, think about this: if you're in the NFC East, right, and you're Dallas, or Philadelphia, you get to play 4 games against 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, Giants at Washington. You're in the AFC West, you don't have that luxury. That's why that division is really tough. It's kind of the same thing with the Titans. I mean, we got 4 wins coming out. We're going to beat Jacksonville twice. We're going to beat the Texans twice. Texans are horrible. They're probably going to go 0-17 or 1-16. So, you have the luxury of 4 wins. And, of course, in the NFL, the way the playoffs now is you got to get wins. So you got 4 there. Okay, pick the division. I'm picking Eagles to win it. Jack?
Cowboys.
Nate?
It hurts so much, but it's probably the Eagles.
Picking against your team, okay?
I know.
You know what? It's bad karma, dude. Bad karma. In fact, the Titans were 40-1 to win the Super Bowl on DraftKings. 40-1. I bet $1,000. So if I win, that's 40 large. Ann says, well, if they get in the Super Bowl, we're going to split the bet. I'm like, no, we're not. There's no way we're doing that. Bad juju. Win the 40 large. That's the deal. Okay. NFC North.
The Titans like 4 times since the NFC segment. Move on.
Okay, sorry. I'm excited about my team. Okay, NFC North. This used to be the black and blue division. Now it's like the Swiss cheese division. Okay, so Rodgers loses Avante Adams, right? And he's everybody's favorite quarterback to hate. Then he goes on TV the other day on Wisconsin TV, and he blasts his young receivers and saying they're not working hard, they suck, they don't have a work ethic. What's wrong with the kids today? I'm never going to throw them the ball. And then they're heaping criticism on him, and he says, hey, I'm a leader. That's what leaders do. Nate?
That's not what leaders do. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers knows what leadership looks like. Is he the best quarterback in the league? Sure. But, you lose Devontae Adams, who's an elite top 3 receiver, and now he's got a bunch of kids that he has to throw to. When was the last time that you heard Tom Brady complain about his receivers like that? Never.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a different personality, and he's always been that guy, right? He's always been the guy that complains. It's never on Aaron Rodgers. It's never on me. It's the coach. It's the offense. It's the offensive line. It's my receivers can't catch the ball. My defense can't make a stop. It's never Aaron Rodgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's the best, he's never, taking any accountability has never been a strong point. So, I'm skeptical that the Packers get this done. It just feels dysfunctional. It feels like they have some problems internally. It feels like he still might be a little bit salty like he was last year, and maybe like he doesn't really want to be there, but he just couldn't say no to the money. I just
you guys are hating on Rodgers. Jack, I know you're not a Rodgers fan, so go ahead, unload.
Any quarterback who doesn't win the Super Bowl and thinks in the offseason, I know what I'll do. I will start taking ayahuasca. I mean, that's just that's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, I'm sure it opened his mind to a couple things, but I mean, that's akin to Kyler Murray playing Call of Duty for 75 hours. Come on. So, I mean, they probably win 14 games and everything, but I don't want to pick him because, I just don't like that guy. He is the best quarterback in the league, but he's annoying. So I'll just go with the Vikings. I mean, I never hear from Kirk Cousins anymore. They lose games in 2 minutes. Maybe they turn that around. So.
Yeah, what's the deal with the Vikings and Kirk Cousins? I mean, they're always kind of the team you think, well, this is going to be the breakout season. They got Kevin O'Connell, the new Vikings head coach, who escaped from Washington, escaped from New York. And, he knows Cousins. I mean, the thing about Cousins is, you watch him, and he never does anything to really blow a game, and he never does anything to really win a game. He has okay games. His stats are good. He's a good manager, but there's no really pizzazz there. There's no Rodgers there. But the guy's a good game manager, and he's got a pretty good team behind him. And can they topple the Packers, Nate?
I think so. I mean, I think that, also, what we are is a betting show, right? And the Packers are minus 190 to win the division, right? How do you lay that kind of juice on a team with so much uncertainty?
No way.
That seems to be so deeply unhappy, right? With the Vikings, you're getting a little bit better than 2.5 to 1. If you're, on DraftKings, they seem like if you're going to make the gamble, that's the one to make. At least you get a little bit better payout. And really what you're betting on is stability, right? You're betting that Kirk Cousins is just steady enough, that, their defense is steady enough, and that he gets the ball to all their offensive weapons, of which he has a ton. That's really the bet you're making. Is there's a lot of instability in this division. Who knows what the lines will look like? But, I just don't see how you lay the juice with the Packers when you're basically just betting Aaron Rodgers and nobody else on that team.
Well, but that's a good it's not bad betting Aaron Rodgers. All right, we got to do this a little bit quicker now. We got eight minutes. Lions, they can't win a division, right? They're not going to make the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to win some games. They're very competitive. Best line ever, okay? Jared Goff, after blowing the third game in a row in the final minute, one of the Detroit beat writers asked Goff, he said, what does your team have to do to win? And Goff had the best response I've ever seen in pro ball. He says, first, we have to learn how not to lose. I thought that was a very mature comment. I like Goff. I think his team is not the dumpster fire they were. I think they're going to get a lot of overlays, like where they're, I'm getting 8 and I ought to be getting 5. So I'm going to bet the Lions this season a lot. Bears, a disaster. This team is just a clown show. Justin Fields is running around. They got no offensive line. The offensive line is horrific. They have no defense. They're all rookies. They're all proven, untested. This is a 3-win team. Nate?
Couldn't agree more about the Bears. Just don't even worry about them. Don't factor them in anything. They're, a non-entity. They'll get run over by everybody else. And that's the end of it. But I think the Lions are interesting. I think that, they are interesting at, 10 to 1 to win the division at a lot of places. I think they're even more interesting at 5 to 1 to make the playoffs because I think that they have the talent. And of course, that's a sexy chic pick because they're on Hard Knocks and, everyone's watching the Lions every week, on HBO and, Dan Campbell gets some rah-rah, but I think they're a good team. But the Bears, no. Just leave them behind.
Jack?
Yeah, the Bears are like if I owned the Bears and my ex-girlfriend was in charge and she was like, trade everybody. It's just like they don't – the management up there doesn't want to win. They don't really care. No, they don't like Justin Fields. I'm going to pick the Lions a lot this year, too, because they have a good defense. And I think they're going to get some pretty gracious spreads, so we can move on.
All right. So winning the North NFC, I'm picking Green Bay. Jack?
Vikings.
Nate?
Vikings.
All right. I'm right. Green Bay wins. All right. NFC West. Nate, who's gonna beat the Rams? Anybody?
Nobody. I don't think the Rams get beat this year. I mean, how do you think that somebody can? They win the Super Bowl. They're the reigning Super Bowl champs. Division's not that strong. I think that they just roll through this division again.
Niners? Nate?
I mean, who's even playing quarterback? Are they going to get Trey Lance there? Are they going to keep Jimmy Garoppolo? They got to figure that out first. Teams are never good when they don't know who their quarterback is, right?
Yeah.
And they're still trying to figure out what they're doing with that. And until
I
they
agree with
figure
that
out,
100%.
how do you have any continuity?
I think it's bad for the team. I mean, Trey Lance, I get it. He's kind of the new, Bay Area heartthrob. But Jimmy Jesus, I mean, he's led this team to the playoffs. He's been solid. He had a couple bad games here and there, and they're kicking him to the curb. They can't figure out what to do with him. I'm going to get to the Cardinals, and then we'll get to Jack. I think this is the biggest overlay team in the NFL. I can't stand their quarterback. The fact that they had to put in his contract that he had to actually study game film, and then he whined about it, and then the Cardinals brass acquiesced like a bunch of babies. I can't stand their head coach. I think this is the smoke and mirrors team of the NFL. I think they're going to crash, win six games. I think they get beat two times by San Francisco, 2 times by L.A., and even get beat by Seattle. Jack?
Yeah, I love the Niners. I don't really care about the quarterback situation. I just think Kyle Shanahan's really smart. Jimmy Jesus has won a lot of games. For them, they're always in the hunt. They always seem to figure it out. So maybe I'm trying to be different. I don't like Matthew Stafford. He went to UGA. I don't have love for anyone who didn't play for Ole Miss. So maybe I'm just being a little bit of a homer here. It's hard to repeat, but then again, their defense is, disgusting, and Sean McVay's really good. So I'm sure the Rams will be good. I just kind of think, maybe the Niners eke it out by one game. You never know what happens, and if I'm right, I look clever, and you guys look stupid.
Well, I mean, look, Niners are tough, no question about it. Seattle's horrible. I mean, when you have to bring in Geno Smith to be your quarterback. And I tell you the other thing, I am so sick of Pete Carroll. First of all, the guy never atoned for the thievery he did when he won the championship at USC. I can't stand the guy running around the sidelines with his, thinks he's hot stuff. They're going to be horrible. Okay, win the West. I'm going with the Rams. Jack?
Niners.
Nate?
Rams.
Okay, that's going to wrap with the NFC South. We got 3 minutes. Okay, Tampa Bay, minus 250. Tom Brady. Great offense. O-line, not that good. Solid veteran roster. Todd Bowles blitzes every other play. He's their defensive coordinator. They might have the best blitz in history. Tom Brady, how do you bet against Tom Brady again? I mean, how do you do it? Then you get to the Saints, and they got Jameis Winston. They got a new coach. They got biggest thing about the Saints guys is offensive weapons. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry. They got this drafty guy. He looks fabulous in camp. Chris Olave. They're going to score a lot. Can they stop anybody? Jack?
No, they can't, and that's a problem. The Bucs can stop everybody. They have like a top 5 defense, and they have Tom Brady, and they're down there in Tampa where it's warm all the time. So look, I love New Orleans, always have, but I can't really pick them. I kind of think the sleeper team is Carolina. I know that's not news. Everybody kind of likes them at least a little bit. But obviously Atlanta is tanking. So I think the Bucs are going to win a lot of games. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to win a ton of games. I don't think the Saints are the sleeper pick. I think the Panthers are.
Nate?
I'd be inclined to agree with Jack. I mean, but first of all, I just don't think you go against Brady. And it's not just Brady. I think the Bucs maybe have the best roster in the entire NFL. They didn't lose a lot of players. They lost a couple receivers. They replaced them with at least equal talent or better to replace Antonio Brown. Their defense is still loaded. I mean, you're talking about a team that won 23 regular season games in the last 2 years for Tom Brady. Like, how do you bet against that? And I don't think that any of these teams are going to sneak up on them to win the division. I just don't see it happening. I think that they go all the way to the NFC Championship.
And then, of course, we have the Atlanta Clown Show coming back for Big Top. Now their quarterback, the maestro, Marcus Mariota. We ran him out of Nashville, although he did win one playoff game for us. My son Joseph, Jack, your brother, always reminds me of that whenever I diss on him. He's like, well, he did win the playoff game, Dad, against Kansas City in Kansas City, and he did make that block to spring Henry loose to preserve the game, so stop banging on him. But Atlanta's going nowhere. They're in a major rebuild. They finish last 3 wins. Okay, winning the NFC South, Jack.
Bucks.
Nate.
Bucks.
John, Bucks. All right, NFC champion. Jack.
San Francisco 49ers. I don't care who their quarterback is.
Nate.
Bucks.
John, Pack. So we're picking. I'm picking Pack's Titans in the Super Bowl, and Nate, your picks for the Super Bowl: Tampa Bay and who? Bills.
Bills. Yep.
And Jack, you got Niners, Bills.
Niners, Bills. Bills win. You turn it off by halftime.
All right, guys, that'll wrap up our first edition of Godzilla Wins. Next week, we got games. We're going to make live picks against the spread. You can catch us also on the replay on Sunday for the NFL on your favorite podcast platform. This will be up in a few minutes on YouTube. Godzilla Wins, that's the YouTube channel. Got to go to Godzilla Wins, and on Rumble under the John Fredericks Radio Network. I want to thank our sponsor, DraftKings. Download the DraftKings free app. Put in promo code Godzilla. You're going to get the best deals there. That's where you want to go on DraftKings. I want to thank them. Also want to thank our analyst, Jack Fredericks from Tunica. Nate Perry live in Reno. Derek, thanks for running our show.